welcome back to Video Games. Tim Rogers here with Action Button Live. Streaming exclusively on the Action Button Goblin Bunker Network, accessible only at twitch.tv/actionbutton. We've got a show for you tonight. A little show, I hope. Don't really feel like having a big show or a medium-sized show. I'm gonna go ahead and just tell you, I'm not gonna keep this secret. I was thinking maybe I'll keep this secret. Maybe I won't. But I mean, you know, we went to England. The United Kingdom, and we just got back. I was gonna not mention that we went to England. William Rogers is me. You will see that name at the top of my Wikipedia page. I've gone by Tim Rogers my whole life, and I tried to rebrand as William Rogers, but the appeal of my dad's my dad has the same name, William Rogers Sr. I'm William Rogers Jr. And he went by Tim his whole life. I made it sound like he's dead. He's not dead. My dad's not dead. He went by he goes by Timothy, whatever. But he has a nickname. I'm not going to say what his nickname is. Not going to put him on blast. He has a single syllable nickname that's not Bill or Will. So I was like, I want one of my own. And I tried a couple. Ultimately, the only artifact of that particular era is I do name my Dragon Quest protagonists Billy. Oh my God, my hair got airplaneized. The reason why I decided to break the silence and say that I went to England is because I noticed my lower lip is really chappy looking. I got beef jerkified in that hotel room. I could bite my tongue off with my lips. But yeah, we went to England. We went there for the BAFTAs. I had someone ask me via Discord message, someone with whom I have a pretty jocular rapport, I would say. Someone with whom I have a jocular rapport on the chat client known as Discord asked me yesterday, middle of the afternoon, when I looked over at Discord, heard you were at the BAFTAs? ? And I was like, okay. BAFTA D's nuts, as someone points out. So yeah, we went to the BAFTAs. We were invited at the last minute. We were made an offer we couldn't refuse, which was, I mean, Mimsy thought it meant she won one of the awards, and so did I. I agreed. So we went to England. And here's where our story gets a little crazy. I will say that I feverishly scanned this boarding pass with my eyes before picking it up and showing it on camera to make sure there's no information, no identifying information of any kind on it, aside from my name, which is publicly available information. If you have a time machine and you are a guy who smells really bad, this is the flight ZO702 on Thursday, April 16th, 2026 at 6:20 p.m. We are in seats 31C and 31B. And the seat 31A is empty, and it will remain empty for the entire flight. So if you want to buy that seat just to ruin our flight, you can do that. And we returned on the similar flight today. So we were there, and here's where things get pretty crazy. Okay, they don't get crazy. We went there. There was actually a guy who smelled really bad sitting in the row behind us, and we sat in the same seats on both planes, which was fun. You got to have a travel agent who gets up pretty early in the morning to get you the same exact seats on two flights, and we had the exact same seats on two flights, and I swear to God, there was a guy who smelled really bad sitting one row behind us. And I remember checking the seat chart when we checked in because there was like a problem checking in. There's a couple of like tangents here about the problem checking in. One of the problems checking in was you need a visa to go to England now from the United States. Did you know this? Apparently it got started. I don't the person working at the ticket counter at the airport said it's a recent development, and you need a visa, and you apply for it online using a bespoke app that you have to move your. It's called the ETA, which means something else in the world of travel as well as what it means, and it's like, man, they should have picked an abbreviation that means something else. So there's a couple of situations with we did not know about needing this visa. We didn't know it. I don't particularly associate with too many people over here in New York who frequently, if at all, go to England and thus understand the ins and outs of the immigration system there. So nobody had mentioned during a friendly dinner party conversation or whatever it is you want to imagine I do when I'm not sitting here in front of this camera. Nobody had mentioned in a polite dinner conversation or, on the street or wherever, nobody had mentioned anything about this. I'd heard nobody say anything about it. So I didn't know this, right? I did not know that you needed this visa. So we were unable to check in on the app, and it just kept saying your paperwork is incomplete. Your paperwork is incomplete. And I was like, what does that mean? And it turns out I can't get my hair I got to get a haircut. I got to get this freaking chopped off. I got to get this shredded. I'm going to go to the barber and I'm going to say, make it look like it's wet all the time is what I'll say. So I'll make it look wet, make it look chewed. What do you have in mind? Something chewed and wet, please. I would like it to be most easily describable as chewed or wet, depending on the person's perspective, time of day, vocabulary, right? So we had to get this visa on this app. I still have the app. Hold on, where is it? Okay, it's very funny because the app. You can also see the Curb app is on here. That's not the Curb Your Enthusiasm viewing app, much as I wish that existed, because you gotta love Curb. You ever watch Curb and Larry's on there and you're like, you've seen the episode like 4 times before, but you're still like, what do you gotta do that for, Larry? What do you gotta do that for? Anyway, the app for the visa, can you guess which one it is? It's not the one with the curb, it's the one that looks like a crown. Now, I'm not gonna launch this because I think it probably has my information. UK ETA. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you get one of these, you can check your ETA online. You need a passport, right? So it's kind of neat. You use the passport, you like hold the passport up to the phone, and then it reads your passport. Your phone can read your passport. Did you know this? If your passport has a microchip in it, you just hold it up to this app, to the phone, and it just sucks in all the information, which is kind of interesting. And then they ask you to take a photo, and you scan your face, and then they say, thanks for the face scan, loser. We got you. And then many, many minutes pass, and you get an email that says, we'll give you your decision within 3 days. Some people get it faster, but we will get it to you within 3 days. And I was standing there in the airport. First of all, I was so sick. Like, you all remember how I was on the stream on Tuesday. Like, I was feverish. It's possible it was allergies. Well, I mean, it's possible it is. I'll explain the allergy theory in a minute. But it's like, they sent the visa like 30 seconds after the email saying it would be 3 days, right? It would be within 3 days. They sent it within 30 seconds. I guess they use the power of AI to compare your face to the scan. They use like the dot caster on the phone, I think, to because they show you a weird like contour, like topographical image of your face as they take it. So you're doing this. They're getting your whole face in 3 dimensions, and it's really finicky, and it doesn't work very well. But then within 30 seconds they give you the visa, and we're like all right. But it's for those 30 seconds. I was vaping bad fumes. I was like, 3 days, we're freaking hosed. I spent all that money on an Uber to the airport because we were running a little late, and I'm out that Uber money. Why did nobody tell us this? All these emails saying, do you want to come to the BAFTAs? We really think you should. We'd really appreciate your presence. We'd really, really appreciate it. We're going to serve dinner. We think you're going to have a really good time. We think you're going to love it. You really should be here. All these emails, they didn't say, make sure you have your visa, because I guess they just assumed that we're the sorts of worldly fellows. Man, my lip is so messed up. They just assumed that we were the sorts of worldly fellows who, just go to England all the time. So I want to mention this lip here. This happened on the airplane. Anybody else in the chat? You get on an airplane, and then by the time you land, you could cut your tongue off with your lips. I keep saying I got so beef jerkified in that hotel room. It wasn't the hotel room. In Las Vegas, it was the hotel room. In England, it was the airplane. It was the 7-hour airplane journey. At any rate, immigration at Gatwick Airport was fine. It went very smoothly. There was no lengthy interview. It's all being done by AI now. So, God, this lip it looks awful. This lip looks crazy. So when I say things, when I did not watch sports on the plane, let me tell you a couple of things about the plane. All right? I'm going to tell you a couple of things. We were flying on Norse Airlines, which is a fine airline. We flew on a 787 Type 9 or whatever it is, a Dreamliner they call it. So a large plane. If I understand correctly, Norse Atlantic bought a bunch of those. They bought like a fleet of 787s somewhat recently. The planes are fine, but there's no Wi-Fi. I had Wi-Fi on a flight to Las Vegas, which I used to just talk in the Discord, discord.gg/action button. When you hear your family, you're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it. I had a good time using the internet on the Delta Airlines flight I recently took to Las Vegas. Also to go watch Mimsy not win an award that she should have won. Actually, hold on. We're going to try something while we do this. I'm going to download something. We're gonna download a video from YouTube and we're gonna pace through it. We're gonna try to react to the BAFTA Game Awards 2026. Okay, it should be on here, right? Okay. BAFTA Games Awards with Google Play. Okay, streamed 4 days ago. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, I'm gonna download this, and we're going to. I need. Oh God, the wrong app just launched. You ever like type in the name of an app in Windows, and you see it? It's right there. It's about to launch it, and then right before you press enter, it just changes the name of the app, and then it gives you another one. Maybe you wanted this one. It's like, do they just assume that the only reason somebody's going to why does 4K Downloader want to update again? 26.1 is now available. AI processing is now a breeze. I love 4K Downloader. I've been using 4K Downloader Plus for years now. However, they really do update a lot. They update so much. They update so often, but it's only because YouTube keeps messing with them. So there was no. Where did 4K Downloader go? Come on, buddy. Can we do this? 1080p? Okay. It's going to be 1080p, everybody, if that's okay. It's 5% downloaded. It's downloading fast. Anyway, I'm going to tab away. We're going to watch this. We're not going to watch it, but I'm going to lay out a scenario, and then we're going to do a little test. Because, we're going to just do a little test. So here's how it all went. We went to the BAFTA Awards, and Mimsy was nominated for 2 awards, one for Best Debut Game, and one for Games Beyond Entertainment. I helped Mimsy write 2 little speeches, each of which contained an abandonable clause referencing her winning the other award. If she did not win both awards, the speech would have been, if she'd won just one of the awards instead of both, the speech would have been much shorter. But if she had won both, there would have been a beginning and an end to the other speech. Debut game and Games Beyond Entertainment. And the reason why this was, I had to write each one, I had to outline each one slightly differently, was because we didn't know the order the awards were going. Now, if you've never been nominated for an award at an awards show, well, first of all, neither have I. You're in good company. We probably have a few more things in common. It's been a long time since I emphasized the wrong word. I'll blame the jet lag. If you'd like to know what else we might have in common, feel free to ask me. My inboxes are open. I prefer a Discord message. It's easier for me to get at. Hit me up on Discord. I'm Action Button on Discord. Here's the thing about Discord. Nobody sends me business proposals over Discord. It makes it so much more relaxing. Every time I've looked at my email, it's just flooded with Action Button, interested in hopping on a call. I'm going to tell you what, maybe I should hop on a call. If somebody offered me $1 million for the name Action Button, would anyone mind? Serious question. Would anyone mind if I rename my YouTube channel because somebody offered me a cold $1 million for actionbutton.com, actionbutton.biz, actionbutton. What do I have? I don't have actionbutton.net. That one got stolen, but I have actionbutton.com. Actually, do you want to see this? I'm going to show you. I'm going to screenshot my list of all of my Action Button URLs that I own, which I think could be a funny thing. Is this right? There was no password in there. Oh, wow. I was right. I don't know how I still know my... I don't know how I know my... I don't know how I know my GoDaddy like customer number off the top of my head. It was not in Chrome for some reason, but I got it. All right, here's what I've got. Here's what I've got, and I'm gonna just .club. I don't have .club. .club is $5.74. Oh, .life and .club. .life and .club? Should I get .life and .club? Hold on. I'm sorry, I have to do this. Hurry. Hurry, 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 hurry. Come on. Snipers are watching. Snipers are watching. Hang on. .club. Oh, .tuvalu. Hang on. Hang on a second. Hold on. It's okay. Hey, everybody, just hang on. Hang on a second. We're hold on. Hold on. Hang on. I'm sorry, everybody. This is something unexpected has come up. Actionbutton.ai. .tuvalu. All right. Let's see. What do we got? Okay, we're done. We're just done. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Hey, it's fine. Hey, it's fine. Come on. GoDaddy. Every time I try to type GoDaddy, I type God80. GODDADY. It's like almost every time I've ever tried to type it. Isn't that weird? It's strange. Can I see my thing, please? My products. GoDaddy.com is a really, really rancid website. It's really badly designed. And you know, I do think that's funny. I do actually think that it's funny. But oh man. I think it's funny that it's just what I use for domain name registration. Every time I've ever mentioned that I use GoDaddy.com for domain name registration, I get some web developer telling me, you shouldn't use that. You shouldn't use that. You shouldn't use it. Don't use it. And I'm like, I can transfer the domain anytime, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I know my customer number off the top of my head. I'll tell you why I know that my customer number off the top of my head for GoDaddy.com. This is the stupidest reason to know anything off the top of your head. It's because they make you use your customer number to log in and not your email address or like a username, or at least if they let you use your email address or username like now, then I wouldn't know about that. Sorry, I just ended up doing a little bit of online shopping. I'm spending about $40 here. Spending about $40. There's an AI builder. I noticed something really funny. This is just basically, you kind of can't. I just kind of can't take its measure here. This is what we have on the internet now. Generate domain names, AI powered. GoDaddy has an AI that will come up with domain names for you. Anybody who has ever purchased a domain name from GoDaddy.com knows that they do a pretty good job. They've always been coming up with domain names for you. They've been doing it for a while. Like, I don't think they needed AI to do it. I just don't think. I don't think they ever needed AI to do it. I just don't think so. Legends.club. Legends.club is probably Legends. What about Legends.collection? I mean, you type man, my favorite one that we ever did was I typed video. I had the domain videoball.net, which I don't have anymore, because I mean it's just gone. It's just gone. That one's gone. It's gone. I don't have it anymore. Yeah, don't go to videoball.net. Like, I'm serious. Don't. Okay. There's a list on here of the domains that I own. There's just a big list. Like, where is it? Where's the big list of domains, dude? Like, where is the big list? Okay, I found it. I think I found it. Okay, here we go. This is good. I want you to see this. No, hold on. Okay. This may impress you. It may not. I don't know. Here's what I have. Okay. And this is what I have. And I'm not, this is, if you'll permit me to brag for a second, I have very little in my life that I'm comfortable bragging about. But this, I could do this all day. What I'm about to show you. What I'm about to show you may change your opinion of me from this moment forward. It may change your opinion of me. I really meant to do this like really fast. And just have it be done. But instead, it's turned into a very long segment of this quote unquote show, which is kind of how stuff goes. Par for the course, as they say. But don't worry, I remember where we were. I've got my bookmark. My bookmark is located in the quadrant wherein I stated, if you've never been nominated for an award, well, neither have I. I do remember that's where we were. Okay, so here you go. This is what I got. This is what I've got. I own all of these. Which makes it particularly galling that I lost actionbutton.net. Actionbutton.net was like the one I liked the most. I think a .net is a nice website. I think it's a nice website name to have. I think .net sounds really nice and clean. It appeals to, God, my lip is really... I slept on the plane. I'm sorry. I slept on the plane. So I didn't get to hydrate on the plane, and I woke up with razor lips. But anyway, we're going to read these all out loud. We've got actionbutton.com, actionbutton.live, actionbutton.tv, actionbutton.blog, actionbutton.reviews, actionbutton.online, actionbutton.club, actionbutton.shop, actionbutton.biz, actionbutton.life, and actionbutton.site. I've got all of those. I've got them all. So why do I have all of those? Well, it's partially I'm going to tell you why I have all of these. Because it was a sort of a response to the losing of actionbutton.net. Mark Waters is asking, do not go to actionbutton.net. Please don't go there. It is a malware site. It is not a real website now. It's a malware site. It's a malware site. I believe they used something. It looks kind of like, last I checked, which, last I checked was not today, but it was not even recently. But last I checked, it had some facade that kind of looked like a website. It like kind of looked like my website, my old website. And it is, you know, people ask this a lot. I do have the WordPress archive for that site. I do have it. So it exists. Sorry, I had a mop on the floor that was just dirty looking. The mop needs to be cleaned. I moved it. I hope that wasn't disturbing anybody. We left this house in a hurry when we left. We left really fast when we went to England, which was a very quick decision that was made within a matter of minutes. We had to say yes or no to this invite, and we did it, and we got up and we headed to the airport, which is why I woke up on the plane with about 2 hours and 36 minutes left of the flight, remembering that I've got a big old Tupperware tub of cooked lentils in the refrigerator that is most certainly just kind of not dough-fied right now, and it is most certainly freaking fermented. It is most likely in a bad, in a dark place. It is most likely not something that I'm going to have a good time with. I'm going to put on an N95 mask and not an N95. We've got an N99 one around here somewhere. I'm going to put on an N99 mask, and I'm going to get my rubber spatula, and I'm going to slop it down the toilet, breathing through my mouth through the N99 mask. So I'm going to make sure that happens. Now, let's go back to talking about the BAFTAs. So we got to England. Jolly old England. And one thing immediately struck me, which was that I didn't have my coat. I'd left my coat at home. I knew that I had my coat hanger in my suitcase, but I didn't have the coat itself. I have like a good, heavy, thick wooden hanger. That it was gingerly packed very well in the suitcase, but the coat itself didn't have it. It was a pleasant day though, but I was looking at the weather report and I was like, oh, it's going to get a little colder. It's going to get a little colder at night. So this is going to suck, I was saying. But it was ultimately fine. I was ultimately not actually that cold in jolly old England. So here's what I brought. I brought one plain outfit, one alternate. I call it the player 2 plain outfit. So always have a player 2 outfit. The player 2 plain outfit, and then a tuxedo. I brought my pair of New Balance 992s. And I brought my tuxedo shoes. That's it. I brought some underwears. I brought some socks. A pair of underwear and a pair of socks for every day. Now, did I change my underwear or my socks every day? Well, that depends on your perspective and your time zone. It depends on your level of jet lag. And it also depends on whether or not these details are truly important to you. I'm going to break the silence right here live on this chat. I consider myself a hygienic individual. However, I have worn the same pair of socks 2 days in a row as a middle-aged man. I have. I try not to. And then just repeat that whole same thing with underwear. I've done it. I'm sorry. I've done it because sometimes you're traveling, right? Sometimes you're traveling. I'm sorry. and I don't live in a hotel. God, my lips. I got razor lips. I got razor lips. I got razor lips. So yeah, if you've never been nominated for an award, here's a couple of things to know. Okay? First of all, neither have I. I've never been nominated for an award at a fancy award ceremony either. And I honestly and sincerely hope I never do get nominated for any kind of award. I don't even know what it would be. When I release a video game, there won't be a trailer, there won't be a hype cycle. There'll be nothing. It'll just be there one day. It will have not been there the day before, and it will just be there the next day, and it's not going to get nominated for anything. And hopefully it'll be a nice little piece of work. Or a nice big piece of work, a real big show maybe. But if you've never been nominated for an award at a fancy awards show, ceremony, banquet, of which the BAFTAs is all three. There's a banquet and a ceremony, which, you know, and a party. So it's like it's got the full Neapolitan. If you've never been nominated for an award at one of these things, let me tell you how they do it, because I witnessed this. I witnessed this secondhand. I watched Mimsy's experience getting nominated, which is she's sitting in the audience, and at a certain point, this is at the Game Awards, this is at the DICE Awards, this is at the BAFTAs. At a certain point, somebody comes up and says, "Your category's next. Your category's next." Just to sort of warn her to not go to the bathroom, right? Except it's okay. They don't say your category's next. They're like your category is after this next one. You're 2 categories from now. 2 more categories before yours, right? So to make sure the nominee is not taking a tinkle during their category. Now this, I think they. I'm not exactly sure how the staffing works. I could probably figure it out if I thought about it. But I think what happens is they have multiple ushers of a sort standing back, standing by, looking at the nominees. If a nominee is in the bathroom when they want to run up and tell them, for example, maybe it's like, oh, we got to go tell this nominee that their category's up in 2 categories, but then that nominee's in the bathroom right now. Maybe they have to have somebody stand there and wait. So that's interesting. But also, what would make more sense, in my opinion, is if they just told you the order the awards were going to be. Right? If they just told you, if they just sent an email, like, or a text like the day of the show saying what order the awards are going to be. Now the BAFTA like pamphlet, the playbill they had for the BAFTA, they were all listed in alphabetical order, which was not the order the awards were announced. So we didn't know if debut game was going to go before. We did not know if debut game was going to go before Games Beyond Entertainment. But the speech that I had from Mimsy was, and I'm just going to say it, I had assumed it would be debut game first and then Game Beyond Entertainment, which turned out to be the order, right? We assumed that if she was going to win, and, you know, again, we were just, you know, hoping, and it would have been fun. We assumed it would have been the Game Beyond Entertainment Award, would have been the one she won, because that was the one that didn't make sense. Like, that we didn't understand what the award was. Best Debut Game is clearly a game that's made by a new studio, a new developer, right? Clearly, that's what it is. That's clearly what it is. Now, Mimsy and her co-developer have a little studio that did release a game before, but it was a student project. So this is their second game, a non-student project, released a whole decade plus later. So it's that still counts as debut game, right? So I had assumed, like, I had written up, and I knew it was destined to never be read on stage, but I thought it would be so funny. So let me share with you the opening line of the speech that Mimsy would have given if she had won the Games Beyond Entertainment Award after winning the Best Debut Game Award. Okay? This is it. I know what you're thinking. Not only did she make a game beyond entertainment, she did so on her very first try. That's it, really. It's it might have needed some punch up, but we were running short of time because the awards were announced so quickly. They were announced in such rapid sequence. It's not as funny, just coming from a guy like me on a microphone instead of Mimsy on a stage. Not only did she develop a game. Not only did she develop a game which exceeds the boundaries of the definition of entertainment, she did so on her very first try. Right? Which is, I thought that was sort of funny. It was you either overwrite or underwrite these things. And, some of these speeches are pretty funny. When I woke up on an airplane on a Gatwick runway at 6 o'clock this morning, this is all rejected stuff. When I woke up on an airplane on a Gatwick runway at 6 o'clock this morning, I wanted two things: to eat a full English breakfast and to win a golden trophy in a room full of tuxedos. I did not imagine I would accomplish both. Between you and me, I should have saved the full English breakfast for tomorrow. That's pretty good. Again, this is just napkin doodles, right? Mimsy's discretion and delivery would have been paramount here, but ultimately the awards were not won. And you know what? It's fine, because we were in a room full of tuxedos. I was wearing a tuxedo. I was spirited away to another, maybe not the other side of the world, but another facet of the D20 of the world, to wear a tuxedo in the company of fancy people. And it was neat. I was present in a room the first time a brand new Lana Del Rey song was played, was pressed play on publicly. Trying to say that in a way that sounds more backhanded but not mean. That James Bond game's going to be really good. That game's going to be good. Blasty's back there getting some water, yeah. But but then we had the banquet and the party, and we got to hang out with all of our friends who we've made at award ceremonies. This is the thing. When you're nominated for an award at a bunch of ceremonies, you start to make friends who are nominees, right? And then you see them at stuff. They're either nominees or they're there for some sort of business or work or morbid curiosity related reason. I have to imagine there are some people who go to the BAFTA Awards for fun. Now the tickets are expensive. We didn't. We got a really good deal, if you know what I mean. But the tickets to just go to the ceremony are pretty expensive. So I feel like it's like a thing that people there's got to be somebody who just treats it as like a yearly, hey, I'll go be around these fancy people and wear a nice suit. It's like a wedding. It's like a wedding, but nobody's getting married, so you don't have to you don't have to feel you don't have to go up and congratulate somebody about getting married. You don't have to congratulate a winner about winning. You can hang out with your fellow people who didn't win and have a fun time with that. While everybody's smoking cigarettes and tuxedos, the men required to wear tuxedos, which this was the first one of these game-related events where I wore the tuxedo and everyone was required to wear a tuxedo. So it felt odd to be wearing a tuxedo in a room full of people who are required by dress code to wear a tuxedo, a black tie outfit. And it actually got me kind of darkly philosophizing about just the idea of wearing a tuxedo. And when I was wearing it at places where it was optional, but I'm drawing a blank on my vocabulary, what because of the sleepiness and the jet lag. It's optional, but appropriate. There we go. That's the word. It was optional, but quite appropriate. It was always like, you get people being like, ooh, nice tuxedo. And it's true. I have a nice one because the cost differential between a nice one and just a basic one that kind of sucks was negligible enough for me to say, I'm going to treat myself to this thing, and also use it for a few interesting purposes that you all might appreciate at some point later. But wearing the tuxedo where it was optional but appropriate, I've never worn it somewhere where it's usually optional. I've only worn it to one mandatory tuxedo required event, but wearing it somewhere it is optional. It's optional everywhere, but it's inappropriate most places, right? Most places and times of day it's inappropriate, but optional and appropriate, it's like, oh, you're getting people saying nice tuxedo. And it is a nice tuxedo because I researched it enough to make sure I was getting a nice one. But then when you're wearing it in a room full of people wearing tuxedos, nobody tells you nice tuxedo. Even though your tuxedo is a nice tuxedo, and a lot of the people there's tuxedos are not nice tuxedos. They're just the tuxedo that they have, that they wore to their wedding 20 years ago, and they're popping the buttons or whatnot. No offense to popping. I'll be popping the buttons on my own tuxedo someday, but I get to live in it first for a little bit. But it's just kind of interesting to be uniformed in this nice garment, and it gets me just kind of thinking about I don't know, the role of a man in society, right? Where everybody has a different head, but if you get a room full of people in tuxedos and one of them commits a crime, right? Like a murder, and there's a witness and there's a lineup, and they're all wearing their tuxedos or not wearing their tuxedos, how are they going to get ID'd, right? There's just there's a sort of maddening dementing effect that happens to the human brain witnessing an ocean of male faces wearing with that are all more or less functionally practically identical from the neck down. So it was an interesting time, the mandatory tuxedo wear. So that was fun to have a mandatory tuxedo wear and have a couple thoughts about that. Not that those go anywhere or do anything, but the BAFTAs were over. And we went back to our hotel, and thus concluded day one. Now let me just describe all of day one. We woke up on the runway. We were there. We were in Gatwick. We left at 6 p.m. We arrived at 6 a.m. the next day because of the time difference. And we went straight to the hotel, which we had to pay for our own hotel. And we got, first of all, I'm not going to shout out the hotel because I don't. We're doing no product placement tonight. But the hotel was so cheap, and it was very centrally located. It was located in central London, and it took me like 24 hours to realize that it was the same hotel I had stayed at the very first time I ever went to London. True story. It took me about 24 hours because it looked so different. And I had thought when we were walking up, I had thought, is this the same hotel? And then we're inside and I'm like, it looks completely different, but it has been 25 years. So what do I know? But it was so cheap. I cannot stress this enough. It was like $89 a night, which is crazy. No, they didn't pay for our hotel, but they paid for basically everything else. So it's the hotel was very close to the British Museum, and every morning that we woke up, the lobby was full of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of university students and tour groups that were getting ready to walk the beeline path straight to the old British Museum. And so we couldn't check in immediately when we arrived. We couldn't check in. So what we did instead was we checked our luggage in the luggage room, and then we went to have a full English breakfast in Bethnal Green at a restaurant that is an obvious choice for a full English breakfast. It tops the lists and all the tour guide books and whatnot. And it's a place I like to go because it's funny and it just kind of feels like being in England. So we had our full English breakfast, wandered around a bit, went back to the hotel at the 2 p.m. check-in time, checked in, sat around for an hour, changed our clothes, headed over to the BAFTAs, and were there until 3 a.m. The next day, we woke up, and I said, let's get out there and have a good time. I wanted to eat some Indian food, and I wanted to visit, as they say. And I will tell you, here's where we're getting to the meat of this story. We're getting to the meat of the story. Do you want me to split the story into something else? I can split it if you'd like. This is a technique that I am quite expertised at. I'm Mr. Expertista. So here's day one was 16,429 steps. That was the breakfast and the BAFTAs. It's airport breakfast BAFTAs, right? This is day two, 26,499 steps. And we'll get to day two in a minute. Before we get to day two, let's take a look at the BAFTAs, which have finished downloading. We've got the BAFTAs. They finished downloading. I'm going to drop them in here. There's the BAFTAs. Okay, we're going to mix this. I'm going to put on the headphones for a second. We're going to mix this, and we're going to see how it kind of shakes out. Let's actually just full screen it. We got to put me on camera. Do I get like, does my broadcast get automatically ended if I just stream a black screen for more than a couple seconds? I honestly don't know that. I feel like Twitch used to do that. People are always asking me, do you really not know all of this about Twitch? And the answer is yes. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't really know much about this, but here's me. Okay, so I'm going to make sure my audio mixer is... Oh, what are you doing, buddy? My window's scaled all weird for... Hold on. Okay. All right. Wait. Yeah, it should be fine. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch these Baptists. Here's my theory. If this is kind of something for everybody, here's my theory. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it sweet. I'm gonna say it plain. Here's what happened. And it could have been the jet lag. It could have been the fact that we'd taken what kind of functioned as a red-eye flight because we left in the evening and arrived in the morning. But that's not a red-eye because it's like if time travel is allowed, it was a red-eye. It could have been the fact that I was helping Mimsy kind of scramble to write this speech, and I had the duties of wrangling it into coherent paragraphs on Mimsy's phone while they were reading the nominees, and there were speeches for other categories because we knew that if Mimsy's category came up, they might show her on camera, and we didn't want her to be like looking at her phone when they show her on camera because that's just it looks rude, right? So it could have just been that I was inattentive, but I feel like when they listed the nominees for best debut game, they did not show Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which ultimately won. It won the award for best debut game, which is very funny. It is a debut studio. Obviously, it is a debut studio, but they're made up entirely of people. Well, not entirely. There's a lot of people who it was their first game working on it, so it's fine. So here's the BAFTA awards. I don't think we. Oh wait, hold on. Am I visible? Are we visible? I don't really want to be visible. This may come as a surprise to some, but I don't really want to be visible. I don't really want to be visible. Hold on. We're going to try to see. I'm trying to find it's so low. It's such a low quality shred down off of YouTube. I believe we are obscured. I believe we are obscured by the host. I believe we are obscured. So, yeah, it would be fun if you could see us. But I don't think you can here. We'll return to this concept in a minute when it makes more sense to do so. Because, who even knows? At this point, it's almost like I wasn't even really there. Oh, man, hold on. There's crowd shots, yo. So this is the sort of thing that could be powered by AI, is if they were to... if they were able to... We're going to turn the We're gonna turn the jokes down here. We're gonna turn the jokes down.
More than welcome to come up and thank me later on behalf of all the gamers. Now, we may have just been to the dark side of the moon, but in computer games, we go so much further.
If anybody wants to obsessively scrub through here looking for me and Jerry, feel free to do that later. I mean, it'll be weird, but you know, you can it'll feel weird, but not it's not the weirdest thing if you really want to do that. This is our best friend, Tonda Ross, who won the award, the much deserved award for game design for Blueprints. I'm gonna tell you something. Are there people out here who don't like are there people out here who don't like the Blueprints? Oh, he's holding the award backward, revealing. Wait, is it backward? I don't even know. It is a handsome trophy, isn't it? I'm sure there's people who don't like this game. However, you gotta admit, it deserves to win the Game Awards award for best design over whatever else was nominated. We're skipping through. So okay, so here's what we're doing. We're performing a sanity check. We're not going to play the Lana Del Rey song, but the song. You know what? Can I just go on the record and say the song is fine. It's fine. I like how seriously IO Interactive is taking James Bond. But the In Memoriam was here. Okay, here it is, debut game. This is it. Oh man, I think they did show it. So we're doing a dementia check here, which is, did they show Clair Obscur? Because maybe I was just numb to it, right? Maybe I was just numb to it, right? When it happened. I like how the words development team are like listed as the award recipient for like most of the categories. It's like Blueprints. The award will go. Oh, it is here. So, okay. I completely blanked this. And it was assumed that Clair Obscur was going to win most of the awards for which it was nominated. Let me tell you, don't watch the BAFTA awards if you don't want a couple of minor, medium-sized Clair Obscur Expedition 33 plot spoilers, because they have some plot spoilers in there. I didn't know until just the other day that the main guy in this Dispatch game is Aaron Paul, Jesse Pinkman from Breaking Bad. They're getting him to play like a 20-year-old. So here's a... Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to play Dispatch as well. I haven't played it, but I'm interested in seeing what it does. But anyway, they Clair Obscur Expedition 33 wins for debut game. We've already discussed this.
And the BAFTA goes to Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Anyway, all that we were doing was where's my camera? Oh, it's up here. All that we were doing was checking to see if they actually showed it. Because when it won, and they said Clair, again, it was expected to win a lot of awards, if not most of them. After, mostly sweeping the Game Awards. And I've said what I think I've said all that I personally have to contribute about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which is I played it and it's fine. I had a good time. I was entertained. it's Final Fantasy X, goes to the Criterion closet and takes Lost Odyssey off the shelf and goes, oh, this is classic. Check this one out. It's relatable characters and a supremely elevator pitchable situation. That's what it is. So that's all there is to say. I think people want games like that. You can make games that I think it's possible the JRPG will get a couple more Western AAA attempts done onto it. It's possible that I just remember playing JRPGs as a ute, playing JRPGs as a ute, thinking these are just a great kind of entertainment. And, we've had a moment in the early 2000s where they realized a TV show can have a plot with continuity. And we entered the golden era of prestige television, where you can have something like a novel on the television. And we're living in an era of Netflix gourmet cheeseburgers, is what the Netflix executives call their miniseries and TV shows. They call them gourmet cheeseburgers. So we're living in an era of that. And it's like, where are all the gourmet cheeseburger video games, right? Well, okay. There are gourmet cheeseburger video games. I think whatever it's called, Ghost of Yote, that's a gourmet cheeseburger video game. That's what that is. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 it's like an elevated gourmet cheeseburger. This analogy is getting really it's kind of stretching like taffy at this point, but it's an elevated gourmet cheeseburger. It's elevated. It's got truffle. It's got a truffle oil drizzle and also extra truffles. Where one of them but it's both of them have arugula on them. One of them just has truffles, and one of them has truffle oil in addition to truffles. I don't like truffles. Someone's like, you got to admit they smell really good though, right? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not a food guy. That's a perfectly normal thing to not be a food guy, to just eat like 3 different things in your life. That's going to be important a little bit later. It's perfectly normal. There's no it's perfectly normal to just eat 3 different foods 5 times a day, 7 days a week. It's perfectly normal. But anyway, the fact that I felt like Clair Obscur, I'd blanked on it being nominated, and when those guys got up, I had like, I'm not like mad that Mimsy didn't win, because it's an honor just to be nominated, number 1, and number 2, it's not me who's nominated, and number 3, the Games Beyond Entertainment Award, which was coming up shortly afterward, that was probably the big one, right? That was, if she was going to win one of them, it was probably going to be that. But also, Games Beyond Entertainment, just so we're all clear, that's what every one of these awards shows, they refuse to make a category that's just literally called Best Woke. They should, to keep it a little more uniform with all the other award ceremonies. Just call it Best Woke. But it's fine if you call it that, right? I don't think it's even weird to call it that. They could probably come up with something else, but everybody comes up with some name that's like they are trying to run as many circles around. They're trying to get as far afield from literally just calling the award Best Woke as possible. But anyway, when the Clair Obscur people are getting up and are when they call Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I looked up from Mimsy's iPhone, where I was just about to hand over. I was ready to hand her the phone if she won, because I was making sure the speech was fine. When they won, Claire Obscura, they announced, they called the name. I literally said, what? And as we were able to see, oh man, I turned it off, didn't I? Oh, darn it. I turned it off. I wanted to see if there was a nominee cam. I guess there wasn't a nominee cam. Even though they discuss with you the possibility of there being a nominee cam. Like, what, to show you going,
Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
you know, to show you be really mad when you lose, right? So they didn't show Mimsy. But I was in the crowd, and it's like, I can reenact this for everybody. We can actually try to do this accurately in the interest of transparency. Let's see if we can do this. All right. All right. So here it is. They announce, right?
And the BAFTA goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Right? It was like that. It was basically like that. Is basically what it was like. So that's basically what my reaction was. As genuinely recreated as possible. What? Were they even nominated? I was very, very high on jet lag and all that. So that's how that went. Now let us return to the tale of the steps. This is day one. That's breakfast. That's airport breakfast in BAFTA. Day two. I decided I wanted to visit London town. We walked 26,499 steps through jolly old. Now, where did we go? Here's the thing. When I visit another country, city, place, zone, region, I like to have something resembling a local experience. I live in New York, which, if I understand correctly, every time I ride the subway south of 81st Street, if I understand correctly, I live in the middle of the biggest tourist attraction on the freaking planet. I don't want to be around tourists or touristy stuff. I just don't. I can't do it. God, my lips hurt so bad. They got so beef jerkified on that airplane. I could cut my tongue off with my teeth. Ricky. But yeah, I like to have something resembling a local experience. But my hotel, which was very cheap and very centrally located, very close to the British Museum, I went to meet a friend, a BAFTA friend, a fellow nominee who did not win a BAFTA. Fellow to Mimsy, not fellow to me, as I am merely an interloper. I'm going to tell you what. I don't mind being an interloper. I don't mind it. I really don't mind being an interloper. I interloped during the dinner where Mimsy was seated next to a fascinating individual, and they had a stirring conversation. And I entertained a couple Euro blokes with stories of where to get good pizza in New York City next time they visit and whatnot. So it's basically, we went to meet a fellow BAFTA loser, not fellow to Mimsy, not fellow to me, loser in a good way. Just a friend of mine, and he was staying near Leicester Square because that was, the hotel his company had bought for him, had rented for him. And we, on this second day, the day after the BAFTAs, I wanted one thing and one thing only. I wanted one thing and one thing only in the United Kingdom. All I wanted was, I didn't want one thing. I actually wanted four things. Except they were all the same thing. I wanted four of one thing, okay? Can anyone in the chat guess what was the four of one thing this freaking guy right here wanted in the United Kingdom, given all the information I've just given you? Iron Brew, Petroleum Blown Apart asks, no. I did drink an Iron Brew, though, on the last night in the hotel. I did drink an Iron Brew. I did. So I've already, okay, hold on. I've already mentioned that I wanted Indian food. I already mentioned that. I'm saying in addition to this, the Indian food was to be the dinner. I wanted Indian food for dinner. There was something else I wanted. Might not even have been a food item that I wanted to have during this excursion with my friend. And it's, again, I wanted four of them. Someone is saying four nans. Four nans, Jeremy. Four nans. Oh, man. So I actually, in the hotel last night, I watched all of season 4 of Peep Show in the hotel with with the snooker world championship playing on the telly and an Iron Brew Zero, which is basically the Project Zeus. My aims were very diffuse. This is basically the combining sales and marketing into one department of entertainment viewings. But the Snooker World Championships, I have a couple other picks. I got Mark saying my aims are not too diffuse here. Wow, that pearlescent filter really makes an absolute nightmare of his face, doesn't it? So just so everyone knows, I did ultimately, at the end of the trip, I drank 2 Iron Brew Zeros. I don't like them. I don't like it, but it is made in Scotland from girders. So you gotta love girders. But yeah, I did watch all of season 4 of Peep Show because we'll get into why I watched all of season 4 of Peep Show later. But nobody's guessed what I wanted 4 of. I wanted 4 of one thing. What is the one thing I wanted 4 of? On the Saturday morning after the BAFTAs, first thing in the morning, crack of the morning, what is it I wanted? Not a jacket potato, no. Mimsy wanted to get a jacket potato but ended up not getting one, right? You didn't have a jacket potato at all. I knew that actually, but I was just saying. Oh, we got Cool Like asking British, very British. Would you call yourself how would you describe yourself? A very British podcaster? Are you the most British podcast possible? The main flavor of Iron Brew is sugar, so it makes sense the Zero would be bad. It's still, here's the thing, the Zero does still taste like sugar. In like a bad, it tastes like eating a spoonful of sugar. It tastes like sugar water. Someone in the chat has made a guess that is very close. What are you doing, Jerry?
I'm getting hungry.
Oh, well, we can eat something in a little bit. I'm going to be finished soon. Okay, so someone has made a guess that's pretty close, and I'll just say what it is. I wanted to have 4 vegan sausage rolls from Greg's. That's what I wanted. That's all that I wanted. I wanted them. I tried to get them at Gatwick Airport, and I walked up to the counter and I said, "Do you have the vegan sausage rolls?" And she said, "The vegan roll?" And I said, first of all, she corrected me. She said, "The vegan roll?" And I said, "Yeah." And then she said, "No." And I said, "Ah, that's too bad." And then she said, "We're sold out." And it was 6:44 a.m. So I was like, y'all got to freaking stock up, right? Y'all got to freaking stock up. I've been told that there are people in England who refer to the vegan sausage roll as the no sausage roll, which is fun. But it's just, I mean, it's sausage to me, man. Someone is saying, last time I was in London, all my friends told me the last day to get a Greg's sausage roll. It's true. Everyone should get a Greg's sausage roll, right? Jerry had one, didn't you?
I had like 4 total.
Jerry had 4 total. Yeah. So I went to another Greg's in the city before the BAFTAs, thinking I'd load up on Greg's sausage rolls during the BAFTAs, or like before the BAFTAs, like pregame the BAFTA meal, which the food was fine at the BAFTAs. They made me a no mushroom vegetarian meal. The vegetarian entree was a mushroom Wellington and mushroom crust with mushroom gravy. No joke. It was triple mushroom. But I was like, I'm going to pregame the BAFTAs with the Greg's sausage roll, and then it didn't work out. And then the next day, it didn't work out multiple times during the day. Every Greg's was out of the vegan rolls. But then the next day, we went into the Greg's in Leicester Square, the heart of the United Kingdom. The beating heart of the United Kingdom is a Greg's that in Leicester Square with a line out the door. And they had so many vegan rolls, you wouldn't believe it. Vegan rolls as far as my eyes could see into the display case. And I said, "Can I get a vegan roll?" And, because I try to act mildly indecisive because nobody likes a pushy customer. In New York, they do. If you're ordering, Mimsy's crinkling something. They like, if you're ordering from the soup Nazi, you have to just state clearly and step aside. State clear and step aside. But I was like, can I get a vegan roll? No, you ask it like you're trying to use somebody's bathroom. You ask, do you have a bathroom? Everybody has a bathroom, but you ask, do you have a bathroom? It just makes more sense to do it that way. So you say, do you have a bathroom? They go, yeah, it's down there. You can use it if you'd like. I ask, yeah, do you have vegan rolls? But I see them right there, right? I see them, but I ask, do you have them? And you know what the guy said? Do you know what the guy said in response to, do you have vegan roll? Do you know what he said? Do you know what he said? Mimsy's crinkling a little plastic bag over there. Why are you crinkling? Is this one of the British snacks? The mini cheddars that you got and immediately said, I don't like these. We went to Tesco Expressco the second night. We went to Tesco Expressco after the BAFTAs because it's 24 hours. And I was like, I'm going to buy some snacks. Did I get the meal deal? It's impossible to not get the meal deal. We actually got meal deals last night for a depressing reason I'll get into in a minute. But we go into the Tesco Expressco at Russell. I call them Tesco Expressco at Russell Square Station, right across the exit from the Russell Square Tube Station. I walk in. It's full of college students, backpackers, people tourists from all around the Euro globe. And we go in there and I I was like, I want to get some snacks, and I wanted Tesco brand snacks. I got Tesco brand cheese balls. What are you doing? Jerry's being very distracting. She does this while I'm working on the videos, by the way, which is why they're taking so long. Is she'll just come out here and sit in the middle of the day, and I have a 48-inch computer monitor, and she'll say, "What is that?" Because I mean, I'm kind of asking for it at that point. I'm just kind of asking for somebody to be anywhere in the room. You can see every edit I'm making. You're saying you can't hear the crinkle, but I can hear the crinkle. Okay, it's real. The crinkle's freaking real. It's just like it's like, you know, you're at a movie and somebody brings a big old bag of chips. Speaking of which, a guy went freaking to town on a bag of chips on the airplane. We're 3 tangents in now. Don't worry, we're gonna get back to it. A guy went freaking to town on a bag of chips on the airplane. There is a zero embellishment required of this fellow. So to be clear, once again, seated behind us on this plane was a man who smelled real bad. And then we had the exact same seats on the way back, and it was the exact same guy who smelled real bad. So whoever you were in seat 32A, the window, you know, we freaking salute you. Like, the seat didn't smell bad. I smelled the guy in line. He had BO. He was laying down primer coats probably days before takeoff, and he didn't shower during the trip. I don't know what he was there for. Probably a Greg's sausage roll. Although I did not detect that, though the odor of the man was such that had he bathed in Greg's sausage roll filling, the odor would not have settled on top of the shifting aromatic ocean of this particular fellow. It would have been lost in the haze. This man was living his best life, one waft at a time. So this man, this wasn't the man I'm talking about. There was a man on the other side of the plane who the plane taxied down the runway, and it reached that part where you're ever on an airplane. We're 4 tangents now. You're ever on an airplane where you're looking at the departure time and you're just like, we're not going to make it. It says the plane leaves at 1:05 p.m., but it's like 1:30, and we're just sitting here. There's no way it's going to arrive on time. And then the plane always arrives on time, and you realize anew every single time you're on a plane that they factor that all in. The departure is when it pulls away from the jetway. The departure is when they close the door. That's when the departure is a process, right? So you're sitting on the runway. So it reached that point where it had moved away from the jetway, moved away from the gate, taxied down the runway, was making a bunch of really slow curves, you know, like a forklift, making a bunch of slow curves. It stops, and then it just sits there, right? Now, this is always the very New York subway-esque experience where it just stops and sits there, and you're like, I don't know when it's going to move again. I don't know what it's going to be like when it does. I don't know if the next time it moves, it's going to be, you know, the thrusters firing. I didn't know, right? I don't know if it's going to be thrusters firing the next time it moves, or if it's going to just start taxiing again. Place your bets. You know, you open up DraftKings or whatever. You open up FanDuel. You open up Kalshi. You open up Polymarket. You know, old Earl Hafler. You get your buddy Newman to bring David Berkowitz's mailbag, right? All this stuff is going on while you're sitting there, and you're just like, you know, just throw a 20 into the bonfire. And you're just like, well, it's quiet now. It was a little bit loud a minute ago, but it's all quiet. They turned off the really weird aromatherapy salon music they were playing like ultra loudly throughout the boarding process, which is, for some reason, they have 5 groups, and they have like a 10-minute blank spot between each of them. And it's like, is the plane full? And then it's like, is that it? Is this it? And then suddenly another group starts coming in like 10 minutes later. So it's just completely quiet. And a guy was waiting for that exact moment to withdraw a huge bag of kettle chips, bust it open, and started eating them like he hated chips. Like he needed the chips gone. Like they were taking up room in the compartment under the seat in front of him that he would rather stretch his legs into. And I had never seen someone chew on potato chips so angrily in my life. Like he was so angry. He had a huge beard as well. Huge beard, going crazy on the chips, popping one chip at a time, chewing with his mouth open, crunching them so loud. Mimsy was there, right?
Yeah.
He was. It was pretty egregious, right?
Funny.
Mimsy saying it was funny. Like it was legit. Like he was eating them so fast and so hard and so loud. And I looked over at him and it was just, he had claymation skull. It's just every single frame of the animation of him chewing on this, his skull was rippling like claymation, Charles. Like it was quite extreme. And yeah, he was animated on twos, exactly. He was Spider-Versing over there with these chips. And I said out loud, and I don't normally do this, I don't normally comment on stuff out loud, but I could not help it. I said, he's going to town on those chips. I said like that, right? I said, he's going to town on those chips. And then I normally don't do this. I normally don't comment on things people are doing out loud. I don't normally do this. I don't normally comment on what things that people are doing out loud because we've all been there. I'm never going to pretend to have never been a guy who was doing something in public that somebody might have commented on out loud, okay? I am never going to pretend that I have never behaved some way in public that has resulted in someone saying, wow, that guy's going wild over there. I'm not going to pretend to not have ever been that guy. Not today. Maybe someday as a treat. But I'm understanding when people are doing things that move someone to utterance, right? Which, as I was in this moment, I was moved to utterance. Guy's going to town on those chips. I don't normally do that. I don't normally feel myself moved to utterance at the behavior of a fellow human in a public place. And I certainly do not often feel myself moved to utterance twice within a 10-second interval about a behavior someone is exhibiting in an enclosed public space, because not 10 seconds after I said, he's going to town on those chips, I said, he's going crazy on those chips. And I think I emphasized the word crazy like a little bit too loudly, because a man sitting one row in front of us in the middle of the plane, 787 Dreamliner, turned around and looked at me, and then he gave an inscrutable expression, and he looked over at the guy eating the chips. And then the guy just looked back at his seat back ahead of him, folded his hands, and just went. He looked like something was troubling him. This fellow was immediately troubled. Now, the guy continued. I was no longer moved to utterance about the chips. I was fine. I'd gotten over it at that point. Because, I mean, I'd never seen someone eat chips. Corey Schmitz says he probably eats chips like that but doesn't realize it. No, Corey Schmitz, you're fine. You're fine. Me and Corey Schmitz have eaten popcorn. We've eaten popcorn together. We've eaten popcorn together, me and Corey Schmitz. So, you know, if you're in the club of people who is allowed to eat popcorn adjacent to me, you're probably fine. Because I am perturbed often by particular chip disciplines. What am I freaking talking about? So This man, he finished this whole bag of chips before the plane had begun to taxi again further down the runway. Silence once again, a single eyedropper of silence once again hit the carpet and slowly, beautifully filled the entirety, every cubic centimeter of the airplane cabin. We were repressurized with silence. And then the troubled fellow entered the story. The troubled fellow was continuing to look troubled. Silent. Troubled. And I thought, is this fellow going to be a problem? And I kid you not, this man reached under the seat, put his satchel in his lap, and removed from his satchel an identical bag of the exact same chips that the guy had just gone to town on, gone crazy on. And then he went to freaking town on them, and he went crazy on them. Jerry's over there laughing. I don't know if you can hear it. We need Jerry on a mic so that you just get that radio show feel. He went to town on those chips. He went freaking crazy on those chips. Holy Lord. And he was troubled because he heard me say, he heard me utter. He heard me moved to utterance at the chip discipline of another. And he knew, and this troubled him, he could not himself hold back from going crazy on those chips, from going to town on those chips. And I was moved to a quiet utterance because I knew the proximity of the man, and I knew well which volumes he could pick up on himself. And I leaned over to Mimsy and I said, guy's going wild on those chips. What kind of chips were they? They were big old kettle chips. And now they were as Americans because these guys chewed loud, they chewed hard, and they called them chips, and they were chips, and they were jalapeno flavor. If a British person eats a jalapeno flavor anything, they instantly get like a skin cancer's worth of sunburn. I don't know how it works out, and then they're done. They turn into a freaking husk, and then they get carted off to the British Museum to get put under glass. Bones found after chips on the plaque. Just going crazy on those chips. So I'm at Greg's, and I ask, do you have those? Do you have vegan sausage rolls? And what the man said to me, quite frankly, was shocking. I said, do you have a vegan roll? Do you have the vegan sausage roll? He said, and I quote, and Mimsy was also within earshot of this. Mimsy heard this. He said, and I quote, clear as Big Ben's bell. This guy said, and I quote, it's 4 for $2. And I said, well, let's take 4 of them. So 4 for $2. That's some interesting math. Why not just say 2 for 1? Well, because they want to sell 4. And why not just sell them 2 for 1? Well, because they want to make the money of 2 while selling 4. They don't want anyone going home with 1 sausage roll. Why not sell them 8 for 4? And now 8 for 4, they can do that. Someone says 4 for 2 or 4 for 2. No, I mean 4 sausage rolls for the price of 2 sausage rolls. It's BOGO plus BOGO, which some people I have heard call BOGO squared. That's wrong. It's not BOGO squared. It's BOGO plus BOGO. It's buy one, get one plus buy one, get one. It's a do BOGO. It's a double BOGO. It's a BOGO-go. So I ate the Greg's vegan roll, and I've got to say, it was delicious. It's delicious. Let me tell you about Greg's, if you don't know about Greg's. And we don't need to talk too much about Greg's. Greg's, if you're an American, you'll understand this. Greg's is like, imagine there were places you could go, thousands of locations you could go to purchase Costco food court food at Costco food court food prices with minimal wait time. And they have one in the airport that's where the prices are the same as the prices are in the ones in Leicester Square, the heart of the United Kingdom. Everybody see my dog down here? That's my boy. They've got donuts, they got pastries, they got toasties, they got all kinds of stuff there. And honestly, it's delicious. And I ate 4 vegan sausage rolls. I'm not going to lie. And I thought, this is good. I was informed I could get a point card where I get like a free 10th roll if I eat 9, which kind of seems like a hot dogs come in a pack of 8 and hot dog buns come in a pack of 10 sort of situation where they're just trying to get me to buy more stuff. Mayor Mamdani is actually planning to open a city-owned Greg's in one in each borough. One in each borough he'll be opening to keep the prices low. But I love Greg's. I'm a Greg's fan. I don't really like their logo. It looks a little pharmaceutical for my tastes. It looks like a sort of a strip mall accountant shop. But you know, I'm not gonna talk smack about logos. But anyway, I ate that, and then I ate the sausage roll, and I thought, well, that was good. And then my friend had to go to we walked around a little bit. My friend had to go to the airport to go back to whence he came. And then Mimsy and I wandered some more. And we had some Indian food for dinner. And here's where the story gets crazy. If I'm allowed to say it got crazy. You're not going to believe this. The next day, so, you know, just for context, we walked 26,499 steps on Saturday, the day after the BAFTAs. That's 4 Greg's sausage rolls worth of steps. Now, the next day we walked 24,705. Okay. Now, the next day we actually we hung out with a local friend in the city of London. And I don't know how to say this. There's a possibility this local friend is watching. There's a possibility. And I don't want to offend the local friend at all. I mean nothing by this. This friend, a dear friend, a close friend, a good friend, a fine person, a wonderful person, good company, good conversation, good jokes. However, having said that, this was one of the worst days I've had in the past several years. And let me explain why. Because I didn't Google nothing before going to England. I went to England several times in my life and I saw a whole bunch of stuff, Buckingham Palace, you know, whatever. I went a whole bunch of places. I've been everywhere in London. I've been all around the place. I've been goddarn everywhere. And I seen everything. And I'm basking all day woke up on Saturday, the day before Sunday, thinking, wow, this really is the very first hotel I ever stayed at in London. The very first time I ever came to London. That's so random and weird that I accidentally just picked this on hotels.com on the train from the airport. It's kind of crazy. And I'm just looking around, and I'm like, I happen to live in the middle of what again, I realize every time I ride the subway south of 81st Street happens to be perhaps the largest tourist destination on planet Earth, New York City, New York, Manhattan. I'm like, I got to get away from this touristy stuff. I want to go somewhere local. I want to go somewhere local. I want to sit in a pub with some footy on the telly and watch Mimsy eat a Sunday roast, something like that, right? But I didn't actually articulate that thought. That's what ended up happening, but I didn't actually articulate that thought. You know why? Because I didn't freaking Google nothing. I didn't write any kind of itinerary down. I thought, we're going to go to the BAFTAs, and then we'll spend a couple of days. We'll come back Tuesday morning, and it'll be fine. We'll come back, we'll spend a couple of days. We'll go somewhere weird. We can go to a castle. We can go to a cathedral. I didn't decide on which castle, which cathedral to go to. And what we ended up doing was taking a couple quote-unquote days off, just walking around affluent tourist trap areas full of big brand fashion stores and department stores and chain restaurants and tourist traps, and just walking and walking and walking. Again, good company, good conversation. We ended up at a pub later to have, Mimsy had a Sunday roast. Our friend had a Sunday roast. I ate some chips because I like chips. But also, I'm a food weirdo. So I wasn't really, I didn't need to eat anything. I had my Greggs. That's all I really wanted. Usually I let myself eat whatever I want when I'm on a trip. I let myself eat whatever I want when I'm on a trip. But this time I didn't really want to eat anything. I just kind of wanted to be places, I've gotten so healthy with my diet in the past couple years that it's just like when I travel, I take it easy. There's no more hedonism to it anymore. There's no more feedonism. There's no more slamming food down into my stomach. That's trash because my rules say I can go crazy when I'm on a trip. So I ate some chips, not crisps. If I'd eaten these chips on the airplane, on the JFK runway, first of all, nobody would have said I was going crazy on them because I would have eaten them silently. If I'd eaten these chips on the plane, they would have been called fries. I was not eating crisps. I was eating fries, chips, British chips. And they were delightful, actually. Just delightful pub chips, just a classic meal. And so basically, you look at it like this. Here's what I decided I wanted to eat when I was in London. I wanted a full English breakfast, which I had. Can I show you the pic? I took so few photos, I realized just a couple minutes ago it's all photos of the TV with the Snooker World Championship. Here's how it went, right? We turned the telly on in the hotel one night, and they were playing Peep Show on BBC4. And that's when I decided the final night, I was watching the Snooker World Championship while watching Peep Show on Mimsy's iPad off of a lowercase j's Plex server. So that was fun. Here's what I wanted to eat in London. I wanted to eat a full English breakfast, which we had. God, I really don't have, my photos are freaking trash. Full English breakfast. There it is. You can see Mims eating the full English. I got the vegetarian full English. You'll notice a pile of mushrooms in the middle. I'll have you know, as a full English breakfast fan, I did actually eat about half of those mushrooms. And I didn't really like them. I think the ones that are kind of burned were better, but I ate all the beans. I ate all the tomatoes. I ate half of the Bubble and Squeak. I drank that entire cuppa. And I ate the egg. But once again, the fried bread defeated me. Not in like a dark or sad way. It's just I always get the fried bread, or fry bread as they sometimes call it. I always get that. And then it's like I can't eat it. It's like a salty donut. It tastes cursed. It just doesn't really I wouldn't even say cursed. It tastes haunted. It tastes haunted. But there's Bethnal Green. Don't let failure be the end of your story. That's kind of apropos, given the fact that Mimsy was to lose both BAFTAs mere hours after this photo was taken. And failure was not the end of the story, because we then had Greg's the day after that. I wanted Greg's. It's not a Labubu, it's a Monchichi. Let's be real. Here's what I ate in the airport. I ate when they didn't have the Greg's sausage rolls. I had a Dr. Pepper Zero and a cheese and caramelized onion toasty, which I was like, well, I'm in England, let's eat something. Then a couple hours after that, we had breakfast. I drank an espresso. But anyway, I wanted a full English breakfast. I wanted a Greg's sausage roll. I wanted Indian food. And I wanted... that's basically it. And I wanted to buy some snacks at a Tesco and eat them on the hotel bed. Like, that's what I wanted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that's what I wanted. I'm just some kind of loser. Here's me and Sylvando. But it's... I just wanted... I saw a pair of shoes. First of all... Oh, that's a pair of shoes, right? It's a pair of shoes. So, I saw two. Hold on. You actually are going to love this. I saw two Ferraris. There's a Ferrari. And then, okay, that's the same Ferrari. Sorry. I didn't take a picture of the other Ferrari. I saw two Ferraris within like 3 minutes of one another. Mimsy and I went into the Royal Ballet, where I saw this cool mask of a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, which is neat. I saw something, this building was hecka gothic. I don't know what it's called. That's a joke. It's Westminster. I took a selfie in front of Big Ben. I took many drafts of this selfie, but they all had a different tourist kind of popping out of my shoulder. So that's how that goes. You can see that my lips are a little dry there as well. We don't need to zoom into that. That's fine. And then, we had some Indian food, which I drank a delicious thumbs up. This is my joke. It's a portrait mode where Mimsy's blurred out. But I drank a thumbs up at the Indian restaurant. And then, there's Mimsy not blurred out, just so I can show you that I didn't actually blur her out of the photo maliciously. I did it as a little thing because I enjoyed the graphic design. We all love thumbs up, right? I was watching, and then every night and every morning I was watching snooker on the hotel telly. This little measuring thing this guy's carrying says full ball on it, which I think is fun. It's a full ball measure. I didn't know anything about the rules of snooker. I didn't know anything about it. I was vaguely familiar with a bunch of different billiards table games, but I never really understood snooker. But then I do now. I read the Wikipedia page and I watched enough, and now I get it. The scoring and strategy still kind of eludes my understanding a little bit, but yeah, we rode the tube. Part of me was just like, I just want to ride the tube. I just want to ride the tube. There was one of my favorite things that happened in the hotel is I was watching TV at night. The jet lag was actually the most intense jet lag I've ever had in my life. if I'm allowed to say that, if I'm allowed to say something extreme. It's it was the most intense jet lag I've ever had in my life. And I did not sleep a normal night the whole time. I was awake until like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. every day, sleep 2 hours, go outside, get a Greg's, pop up around Greg's. But it's the second night in the hotel, third night in the hotel, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares was on, and I learned a couple of things about Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares USA. In the UK, Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares USA has a narrator, has a Scottish narrator. They don't have the American. Gordon went back to the kitchen to give them a piece of his mind. They don't have that reality TV American narrator. It's a Scottish guy. Instantly elevates it. Number two, they don't beep the profanity. So that instantly stratosphericizes it. Now, I mean, it still sucks. The US one still sucks, and a lot of the shots are just flat out staged, where like you'll see him like come out of a door outside the restaurant, look at the camera and go, "Oh, it's crazy in there." One of the cooks is yelling at the other cook. It's complete pandemonium. Customers are waiting. We've got people just waiting. I told them you can't keep your customers waiting. And I'm going to have to get back in there and give those guys another piece of my mind. And he turns around and goes back in, and you're like, wow, Gordon cannot freaking act. Like, he cannot act. He did not miss that particular calling. But it's like, Kitchen Nightmares USA is a very nightmarish show. But I put it on. So here's Gordon Ramsay's techniques if you want to learn how to make a restaurant. If you want to learn how to make a restaurant, Gordon Ramsay's techniques. I wrote these down. Hold on. Well, I wrote them down about 1 billion years ago, so I don't know where it went. 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 I don't know where did it go? I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went. Hold on. I'm just me talking to lowercase j about oh yeah. Gordon Ramsay's business secrets include give up all the time, give up every time, give up loudly, yell, "I'm freaking out of here," with your back turned while walking away. Make the narrator insinuate that this is a restaurant you cannot save. Gut renovate the dining room and reduce the menu to one item. That's basically every episode of Kitchen Nightmares USA. Gut renovate the dining room, reduce the menu to one item. And that's it. Right? That's it. So Kitchen Nightmares USA doesn't work on me because I'm allergic to reality TV style editing. It just kind of sucks. But it was on the telly, and I was watching it, and I don't know I'm not going to pretend to know the culture behind this or not. But Gordon Ramsay was in the basement of a restaurant smelling rotten meat, just like palming rotten meat out of ice cream tubs or whatnot, and going, "This is rotten, this is disgusting, this is freaking disgusting, this is beyond the pale." He doesn't say beyond the pale in that particular episode, but he's probably said it before. He's saying it's beyond the pale. This is raw. This is rotten. This is fermented. You've got penicillin in here, right? He's just grabbing it. He's just barehanding it, and he's like spilling the juice on the ground. Look at this juice. I'm going to be doing that with my lentils as soon as this is over. I'm not looking forward to that. I'm going to get on Fiverr.com, see if Mimsy is on there, and pay Mimsy $5 to do it. Do you have a Fiverr.com? Do you have a TaskRabbit account? Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm talking about how the lentils are rotten in the refrigerator, and I've got to spill them down the toilet while wearing an N95 mask as soon as the stream ends. N90, not a 95. 95 won't do. But anyway, Gordon is just, he's meat kinking. He's rot kinking. In the in the meat freezer, which is evidently completely thawed and raw. And he reacted in a particularly histrionic turn of phrase that resulted in Mimsy looking up from her TikToks. She looked up and immediately asked out loud, and this was honestly, again, remember the jet lag and the fact that I was not getting good sleep. Can I actually tell you about the sleep? We'll tell you in a second. She asked out loud, and it was the funniest thing I'd heard in weeks. She said, "Why is there somebody in the corner reacting to the show?" And I just laughed so hard. Because there's the sign language interpreter, and the sign language interpreter has a lot of personality, and is basically all Gordon is doing is making retching noises, and so she's basically signing the retch. She's retch signing, right? So I just thought it was so funny, and I started taking a couple pics of it, and Mimsy's like, "Why is there somebody in the corner reacting?" And that's just really good. And then she was like, "Do they have streamers on TV here?" And I was like, "No, it's sign language. It's just, there's not really a lot of words here. It's retching noises." So she has to emote. She has to freaking facial express for the people in the back. You can't really tell. She's getting the facial expression to the back section. What is happening with my phone is frozen. Is it dead? What happened? Okay. So there's a thing happening where have you heard of this? It's called AI. Have you heard of AI? It's artificial intelligence is what they call it. AI allows you to search your phone's photo library with keywords. I mean, you could do it before, but now you can do it with AI. And it keeps getting stuck where it'll accidentally think I want to copy paste some words off the screen, and then it gets kind of orientation flopped. So I have to crash the Photos app. That's the power of AI. I had more photos of the reacting signer, but perhaps it's time to finish those. How are you going to have a supermarket, by the way, without Alpen? I took a picture of Alpen because I just, need loo paper. You can see that it's 3:04 a.m. on Saturday when that photo was taken. And then I'm going to show you what we got. Here's what I wanted from the Tesco the night after the BAFTAs. I wanted the most basic snacks. So here's what I got. I got a box of digestives. They call it a box. I got a Coca-Cola Zero, which was a super fan edition. I got Tesco tortilla chips and Tesco cheese balls. Mimsy was like, "I want to try these." And I had to get a little uppity. I had to, because it's my problem. It's just one of the problems I have. I got a little uppity because Mimsy tried to throw another snack in. So that snack is excluded from the frame. It's a little further away. But it's called Cheese Minis, which is like 6 small packs of tiny cheese crackers, which honestly were pretty good. They were like cheesy Ritz. I don't think Mimsy liked them as much as I did. But I just wanted to eat these dry, plain tortilla chips with a Coke. When you are on my level of health and nutrition, this basically suffices as like a cheat meal. Tortilla chips, cheese balls, and some digestives. The digestives are eaten strategically after the Coke, and after the salty snacks. And I enjoy the digestives. It reminds me of one of my earliest memories of England, when I asked an Englishman, "Why are they called digestives?" And he looked at me like, "Are you having a laugh?" And I was like, "No, I don't know." And he's like, "Oh, you're having a laugh, are you? You're having a laugh." He was accusing me of having a larf. He kept doing it. "Are you having a laugh?" He kept accusing me of having a larf. He thought it's impossible for this man to not be having a larf. And it's true, actually. A lot of the time in this life, I'm having a larf because you have to. Sometimes you have to have a larf. I was not having a larf with this guy. I really wanted to know why they were called digestives. And it turns out whenever you get accused of having a larf like 6, 8 times in a row by the same Englishman, WRT, the same inquiry, it turns out the answer, most of the time, the answer is, it's just been like that for a really long time, man. I don't know, is the answer. So that's my digestives story. I'm a fan of the digestives. I like them, you know? I like them. In case you were wondering, this is actually something I found really funny, which is that they have weather reports in England. They actually pay like someone to just kind of point at this tiny little island and tell you the temperature differences, you know, between these cities that are like 20 feet away from each other. I just thought that was really funny. It's like, why, like, how is that somebody's job, dude? Like, I mean, there are rules though, you know, get paid, right? I think that's very funny. I just think it's very funny. Yeah, so those were the Tesco snacks I ate on the bed the night after the BAFTAs. And then I guess I could have demonstrated that meat was back on the menu, where by meat I mean whatever that vegan spiced paste is. Those are the vegan sausage rolls. My friend asked me if the American Hot Pocket is actually is based on the sausage roll. Is the Hot Pocket based? Is it that just like Americans trying to make a sausage roll? And the answer was, I don't know. I don't know if they are. I don't know where the Hot Pocket came from. I do know that the sausage roll is better. It is a delicious treat if you're ever in England. It's pork free. I like how it's vegan and it's also pork free. There's 10 left. Third customer's going to be sad. Yeah, 10 left. I'm pretty sure they had more coming out popping out the oven mere minutes later. Someone says that their wife is making me in Tomodachi Life. How tall am I? I tell people I'm 6 feet tall, and you can, as with all things, you can believe that or not. You can believe it if you want. If you're gonna make a me of me, please make it as abstract as possible. I can send you a screenshot of what my me looks like if you'd like. I don't like to be the whole people sitting around making me's in Tomodachi Life and just on the Nintendo Wii when it first came out. My friends over my house, some wonderful friends, some delightful, beloved, close friends were at my house, and they were all making each other because they're like, you've got that Wii, right? Can we come over? And they're making each other. Oh, your nose is a little small. His nose is a little smaller. Her nose is a little higher. Her eyebrows are more like these. And I'm like, I had already made a me of myself at that point, which is a simple haircut, big round glasses, huge circular eyes, and lips like that. And that was it. It never changed. And that's my me to this day. To this day. To this day. That's me. On my me. But anyway, let's go back to the second day. On the Sunday, my friend came to Russell Square to meet us and hang out. And what did we do? I thought I could probably go for some more Greg's sausage rolls. So we plugged in the coordinates, and I thought we were going to the same Greg's. The Greg's at the heart of the British Empire. I thought we were going to the same Greg's. But instead, the directions led us to a Primark, which I consider the scariest place in the world, because they have too many full outfits that are just hanging. Too many identical full outfits hanging on shelves, pristine, smelling like outgassing plastic. And Smells like being trapped inside of a vinyl records factory. So we go into this Primark where a sign directs us to a large Greg's on the upper level. And we then sat inside this large Greg's for slightly too long. And while we were in there, I began to observe that this Primark was pretty full of people. I could see them shopping right outside the Greg's. I mean, it was blasted full. I think Primark is the worst of the worst of the worst when it comes to fast fashion stores. I believe it's basically all of those garments will exist literally forever. And they're just being washed up on a riverbed in Africa. Just millions and millions of pounds of them. And the governments of these African countries are being paid in, like, I don't know, Tylenol coupons or whatever. We've got two new chat channels opening in the Action Button Goblin Bunker, discord.gg/action button. So for anybody who wants, we've got, I'll just, I'm announcing it here. We have Spaghetti House and Tobacco Store. So these are the two new rooms in the Action Button Discord, Spaghetti House and Tobacco Store. And the fact that they're separated, their Star Gifts is between them. That's my joke. It's not very good. I'm sorry. So here's what happened. This friend came to meet us in Russell Square, and we began to walk. And we ate at Greg's, and then we began to walk, and I'm in the Primark, and I'm like, did I just get freaking rubed? Am I just doing like what a tourist would do, like what an unimaginative tourist would do? And the existential dread settled in at the speed of sound. And it wasn't a full-blown depressive episode, but it just got really dark for me. To be like, why can't I want to get out of this neighborhood? I want to get out of central London and I want to go somewhere local. And I realized a couple hours later, I realized my error, which was I should have just kind of thought about this like the day before. I should have been in the hotel Googling, can we go somewhere crazy? And we didn't. So that night we were at a pub, football game on the telly, Premier League on the telly. Some people yelling when one team did a thing, some people yelling when the other team did a thing. I wasn't watching the game because my neck hurt. My Mimsy and my friend eating Sunday roasts. There was a nut roast on the menu, and I did not eat the nut roast. Did not. They were goading me into ordering the nut roast. You order the nut roast. Order the nut roast. And I was like, I can't do it. I don't know what it is. I asked the waiter, which first of all, in an extreme bit of cognitive dissonance, the waiter was an American kid. And he's like, I'm going to have to ask what that nut roast is. And I'm like, all right. And he goes and asks, he's like on the phone with the guy. He's like on the phone with the guy in the kitchen. And he's like, yeah, it's just like, it's some nuts. And then there's also like some pastry. He's like, and then, you get all the vegetables. And it's like, I'm like, I don't want that. I'd share it if you all want to split it 3 ways. And they were like, no, we have our roasts. And I was like, well, shoot, I'm not doing it. And then I asked this American fellow, I'm like, what should I do? What should we do tomorrow if we wanted to do something? And he said, go to Canterbury and walk around. Just walk around Canterbury. Go to Canterbury Cathedral. It's really Canterbury Tales themed, which is ironic because the Canterbury Tales is about them going to Canterbury, not being in Canterbury. And I'm like, interesting. And I was like, I would do this. I'm looking at it on the phone. I'm looking at it. And we didn't do that. We didn't do it. What did we do the next day? We went to the British Museum, which is a good time all the time. But I'm walking through, looking at the Parthenon statues, looking at the mummies, Nothing has changed since the last time I went to the British Museum, which was in 2015. Nothing has changed since the last time I went to the British Museum, except I watched Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac on Disney Plus. Oscar Isaac doing a little British accent in it. I watched that because I thought, I'm an idiot, and this seems like it's not about anything. And, what the heck? I'll eat some styrofoam. I feel like that all those Disney shows at that point, the Disney Marvel shows were like vegetarian TV shows, if that makes sense. And I say that as a more or less lifelong vegetarian. They're vegetarian television, Vegavision. But anyway, we went to the British Museum. We wandered around until pretty much closing. And then Mimsy wanted a fish and chip, a proper fish and chip. And this is a thing I've gotten good at, is just living vicariously. Mimsy went to the place that was called the Best Fish and Chip. It was called the Best. She watched on TikTok until she watched all the TikTok rankers. They ranked a particular fish and chip. They said it was the best. A fish and chip shop that had been operating since 1871. In the Covent Garden district. We went there, and then Mimsy wanted a crumble, and she had a crumble. And then the crumble was pretty good. I had some of the crumble. I didn't have any of the fish and chip. But I lived vicariously through the fish and chip. And then I ate a Tesco meal deal triple cheese sandwich for triple cheese, a cheese triple for dinner with 2 iron brews and the rest of my bag of Tesco tortilla chips and cheese balls while watching Peep Show season 4. And that is how my trip ended. Watching Peep Show season 4 on an iPad while drinking an iron brew and eating Tesco tortilla chips with the Snooker World Championship on the telly. Muted, of course. I don't drink. No, I've never had alcohol for a wide variety of reasons. About which you are free to speculate. People sure do love to speculate when you tell them you've never had alcohol. They love it. It's a pastime for people. But ironically, at the British Museum, Mimsy became quite enamored of the Lewis Chessmen. Do we all know the Lewis Chessmen? I say ironically for 2 reasons. One is the Lewis Chessmen were not on display. The area was under renovation, so we couldn't see the Lewis Chessmen. The Lewis Chessmen is one of the oldest medieval chess sets, and it's a fun thing to look at, especially if you're some kind of a game designer. It is an ancient game that you can look at. Found in the Isles of Scotland. Really cool looking guys. Mimsy bought Lewis Chessmen merch because she was so enamored with it. And then, whilst eating a fish and chip, Jack Aardvark says one of the Lewis Chessmen is my Discord profile pic. I'll tell Mimsy that. She'll find you. She'll freaking find you. But Mimsy was just like going wild at all the Lewis Chessmen merch. And then she bought a bunch, fridge magnets and whatnot. But while eating a fish and chip, after that, we had a cuppa at the British Museum because I realized too late into my trip that my yearning to be local, we should have just been drinking tea at Pret. I just remember getting tea on the street. I remember getting breakfast, full English breakfast at a pub the first time I went to England. Well, not full. I didn't get full English breakfast. I got a partial English breakfast. But getting English breakfast at a pub and drinking a cup of tea and then getting a styrofoam cup of tea to go. They don't have styrofoam cups anymore because of woke. But drinking a styrofoam cup of tea on the go, just milk and tea, and having a wonderful time drinking that. I didn't realize that now in the year 2026, 25 years later, Pret is basically where you get a cuppa. You can get a cup of tea at Pret. And I judge this by they served it so fast. They served it so fast. Like I said, can I just get a cup of tea? Number one, they did not ask what variety. Number two, it was ready in like 20 seconds. They gave it to me, milk already in the cup. So that's three things. When we got a cup of tea at the British Museum, they asked what kind of tea, and then I had to put the milk in myself, right? And they used flat tea bags. Pret uses pyramid bags. And while we were sitting in the Pret, Mimsy was like, what's the deal with the pyramid bag? And I was like, oh, it allows the leaves more room to move around. It's superior. And then she's like, I was like, I think they're a recent invention. I think they're from like the 1990s. And then I Googled it and I was right. They were invented by the PG Tips Corporation in 1996. So they've been in London a little bit since before I ever went there. But the pyramid bag, yeah, Pret is also open till 11:30 p.m. So, or at least the one in Russell Square was. So getting a cup of peppermint tea at Pret on the last night was fun. And then getting my meal deal, cheese triple sandwich at Tesco, which I'd gotten before going into Pret. I would have gotten a sandwich at Pret if I didn't have a sandwich from Tesco in my hand. So while getting a cup of tea at the British Museum, Mimsy Googled the fish and chips while waiting. And then that's how we found the fish and chips and we went there. While eating the fish and chips, Mimsy Googled the Lewis Chessman. She Googled the Lewis Chessman. And then she was watching TikToks about medieval England. And she said, man, Canterbury looks so cool. She was watching an influencer video about Canterbury. And I was like, maybe we could have gone there. Ridden a train for an hour. Kind of got to a place that felt like something. But instead, we went to London on a last second invite. And we spent the vast majority of our time in a very small area. However, I did watch Peep Show season 4, Project Zeus, the whole season, including the Project Zeus episode with the Snooker World Championship on the television, and a bunch of Tesco snacks and 2 Iron Brew Zeros. So did I, in the end, achieve my dream of going local? You know, we'll find out, right? Oh, one more thing. Airport Nando's. So it looks like I squeaked it by right at the last second. Or by squeak, I'm talking that halloumi. It was squeaky cheese, Ricky. I don't think they should call their sandwich a threat. It's kind of seems dangerous. The everyday triple. The all-day breakfast triple. Someone says it seems like a good time. Beige night. I don't know if it was a good time. I can tell you this though. Well, my dogs are barking because they heard themselves barking. Okay. Y'all were so quiet. They were asleep. Do I like Mitchell and Webb look too? Not really. Legal Step, how you doing, dude? It's been a while. I don't know if anybody knows the lore. Legal Step, are you in the Action Button Discord? Discord.gg/action button. It's the home of it's basically, we call it the home of entertainment. You're in Ohio. Let's face it. Maybe somebody else could comment with a little more expertise than myself, though. The Action Button Discord is not at all, not too dissimilar from Ohio. I would say. I think it's close enough. My lips are beef jerkified from flying transatlantic this morning. And boy, are my arms tired. Is it 11 p.m.? It does not feel like 11 p.m. Our plane arrived at 4 back here in New York, and then it took us until 7 to be here in our house. So recently in the Discord, someone said either Ohio is the Wales of America or Wales is the Ohio of the UK. See, I would have preferred to go to Wales. Once I would have preferred to go to Wales instead of what I did end up doing in England. Like, I just feel like it was one of the least spiritually fulfilling trips of my life. I feel like I didn't really enjoy it. Like I wasn't even there. I had my freaking Google Docs app open and just sucking cellular data all day while I kicked the tires of a upcoming script, you know, just constantly just belaboring semicolons and capital letters and all of that. And it's just, yeah. I just feel like I wasn't even there. I feel like I should have just gone to Nando's, like, before the airport. The airport Nando's was interesting because you ever have that moment where you're like, you're afraid you're running late, but then your food at a restaurant in the airport arrives so fast, like so fast, that suddenly you realize you have plenty of time. That, at the very least, was a good little feeling. But anyway, looking back at this trip and this one day that was just low-key really depressing, it was, it was depressing in like a way that felt completely new to me. Which is just, I just didn't really want to, I was like, I don't care where we go. Let's just go anywhere. And nobody had any ideas except me. I had ideas. I just didn't say anything about them. I just didn't list my ideas. And so I just kind of wandered in the tourist trap shopping mall of central London for a second consecutive day, which then turned into a third day. And then we were done. That was it. Our tiny little weekend trip kind of just unceremoniously put to bed. Our little 4-day weekend. Did it feel Brexity? Did London feel Brexity? Well, they made us, the fact that we needed to apply for a visa while in line at the baggage drop in New York with an app that scanned our face it didn't feel not Brexity. I guess I can say it didn't feel not Brexity. It's just all the restaurants I wanted to eat at have like Michelin stars, and you got to get the reservations days or months in advance. And it's like, I don't even really, and it's like, what happened where it's like the restaurants I just happen to want to eat at have Michelin stars? And what's the deal with that? Did the restaurants I would have wanted to eat at 25 years ago have Michelin stars 25 years ago? No. What happened? My taste didn't change. I just wanted Indian food and I wanted it to be really good. And then there's the one that I wanted to go to was Michelin starred. Can't go there. That's got a Michelin star. You can't go there because you were invited to the BAFTAs last second. So, it does. I mean, there was some stuff. There was a little Brexititiousness going on all around. Little Brexititiousness. But all in all, I kind of just stuck to tourist stuff. I didn't even have a single. Okay, no, aside from the English breakfast day one, I didn't have a single British person act like a Mary Poppins character to entertain me, which I appreciate. But I didn't have a single British person interact with me who didn't seem like they deal with Americans all the time. So, you win some, you lose some. But ultimately, that's how my trip went. And I had I had something I was going to say. Oh, here's a drink we got at the Fish and Chip. It's an alcohol-free strawberry cider, which I thought was going to taste kind of like alcohol. It was for Mimsy. She drank it. I thought it was going to taste kind of like alcohol, but instead it just tasted kind of like a juice. I do like the chips they have over there, though. I am a chip fan, I think. What I've basically derived from this is I like chips and snooker. Here's some AI generated or Snapchat filter looking postcards. Basically, I just I'm not like planning any kind of revenge tour for the UK at this exact moment, but next time I go to England, I will be just leaving the city and going to somewhere that has a large piece of ancient architecture. That is my vow. And I'll also drink a lot more Superfan editions. So you noticed perhaps that today I was drinking a Coke Zero at the beginning of the stream after not drinking Coke Zeros on stream in 2026 so far. And the reason for that is because I drank a lot of British Coke Zero, Superfan edition. It has a bunch of Premier League logos on it. I checked, I made sure that it was not a bunch of logos for a specific team because I didn't want anybody to yell at me. I didn't want somebody to yell, "It's coming home," before they slipped a knife in my back. I don't know too much about soccer. I respect the sport quite a bit, but you know what I mean. But I drank this and this isn't xenophobia. This isn't intolerance. This isn't even really barely anything more than the sort of stubbornness every man acquires, and woman too, if they're fortunate enough to transcend the age of 45 and whatnot. I'm talking midlife crisis. You're going to reach a point in thy life where you just kind of know what Coke Zero tastes like where you live, and you cannot acknowledge anything normal about the flavor of a Coke Zero in another country that tastes as drastically different as this does. It just tastes very, very different from U.S. Coke Zero. So that's why for today's stream, I wanted to decompress. I wanted to depressurize by drinking an American Coke Zero. And it definitely is very different. Here's a picture of Winston Churchill on the money. We don't have Winston on the money. Winston was a wild and crazy guy, wasn't he? I admit I don't really know too much about Winston Churchill except that he's Dumbledore. He's American because he's John Lithgow, right? Because he's John Lithgow. He's American? Yeah, we don't have Winston Churchill on the money in America. That's what I'm saying. Someone is saying certainly he was heavier than 5 pounds. Yep. I did not realize it was 11 o'clock. I think it's time for me to go. I hope you all enjoyed hearing me talk about England. I had a sort of a wind down and a punchline for this whole discussion. It was gonna be a pretty structured callback to maybe your aims are too diffuse. Project Zeus. Why can't sales be an arm of marketing? And snooker and the Iron Brew. But then, I didn't bother. And I've arrived back in the United States. I should have just gone to Croydon. Should have just taken the Thames link down to Croydon and posed in front of Mark and Jeremy's house, Apollo House. Should have done that. I mean, I did that back in 2015, and it was funny then. So it would be funny now as well. It would be, I think it would be good. Mark tries going feral to escape failure. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. He's like, I can leave T-Mobile. That episode, that episode is one of the most pristine episodes of television ever written. Ever written. Project Zeus. An incredible episode. If you've never seen Peep Show, you should watch it. I think season 4 of Peep Show is like perfect television. However, do not skip to season 4 at all. Have you watched Ludwig at all? The show where I watched the pilot episode up until about the halfway point, and then Mimsy fell asleep because we just watched Peep Show. We just finished watching Peep Show. It was actually Peep Show season 9 that was on the telly the last night in the hotel room. It was season 9, episode 1. So it's the end of Peep Show, the beginning of the end. And there's a part where Jeremy and Mark had kicked Jeremy out at the end of season 8. I'm spoiling it. I'm sorry. But this is the episode about how Jeremy comes back to live in the house. But they meet after a few months at Superhands' stag party. And Superhands, to everyone's surprise, has gone straight edge. He's gotten sober. So no drinking, no drugs, not even a little bit of cocaine, right? So they meet at a juice bar, and then Jeremy's like, all right, well, what are we going to do next? What are we doing next? And then he's like, well, I think we might hit up, he like lists a bunch of really boring things. And he's like, maybe hit up my favorite Pret. So seeing that my last night in the hotel, hearing Superhand say, maybe hit up my favorite Pret. And I'm like, I just spent 3 days doing Superhands' stag party, during which he did not give in to the temptation to do a little bit of coke. I just literally had a 3-day long Superhands stag party, and that's just what I do in my life now. But again, when you live in, by all accounts, you live in the middle of, by all accounts, the largest tourist destination in the whole freaking world, New York City, you don't really need stuff when you go elsewhere. You're just comparing stuff. The base juice is all paid for. Oh my God, I love that episode. That's a good season 9. I remember being bad the first time I watched it because I watched Peep Show as it came out. So I watched season 9 after having not watched Peep Show for a while. I just watched it when it was brand new, 2015, and recently-ish watching all of Peep Show, just shotgunning the whole thing because Mimsy'd never seen it. I was like, oh, season 9's actually pretty legit. It's a little overwritten sometimes, dialogue-wise, but it's really good. Mark having a new roommate who is genuinely into the stuff he pretends to be into is a masterstroke. Masterstroke. Legal Step says I had to watch it on YouTube because it wasn't streaming anywhere. Well, if you get on Plex, and you make some friends in the Action Button Discord, maybe you'll have access to a Plex account that has it. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. But so I was like watching season 4 after that episode, the Superhand Stag Party. I watched season 4, and there's a part where Sophie's brother Jamie asks Jeremy, "What is he like? You live in London, right? What's it like down the King's Road?" And Jeremy says, "It's all right. It's got a Pret. It's got a Virgin Superstore. It's got a Gap and a massive Cafe Nero." And I was like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there in the hotel, season 4, episode 1, just waiting to wake up and get on the airplane. And I'm just like, did I just spend 3 days having a Superhand Stag Party that kind of meets Jeremy's criteria of all right? You know, someone is saying New York is not even in the top 5 of most popular tourist destinations. I see where you're coming from when you say that. You're probably using science and facts. You're probably Googling facts. But I'm telling you how I feel when I get on the subway and I ride a little south in my neighborhood, and then it reaches 81st Street, Museum of Natural History, Sea Line stop. It's in the game, okay, is all I'm saying. I guess in hindsight, I'm like, oh, Central London is interesting because it was touristy, but it didn't feel exactly like, you know, it felt hospitalitatious, you know. It felt like there was a hospitality aspect to the very geometry of the city, which was a lot of which was laid out in, you know, centuries immemorial, right? Starting as cobblestones in a little village, and you know, all the streets are off grid, you know, the geometry don't make no sense, but it's just being there, and it's just every single business was a well-run business, and it's so dense with places you can go into, a little bit like Tokyo in that regard. Whereas in New York, you feel like a gentrifier when you follow somebody else's suggestion of like what restaurant to eat at. You have to go to like a neighborhood where like working class people live in order to follow a guidebook to a T, you know? So that's kind of a curious feeling. But, you know, it is what it is. Anyway, I could talk about this forever, and inarticulately and incoherently, because those are skills I have practiced over a period of years. However, I would rather eat something, and it's like a normal time to try to go to bed. So I've stayed awake long enough. But let me just show you. Let's take a look at my sleep. We looked at my steps. So here's my sleep. You will notice, like, it's just not a lot, right? It's not a lot. Wow. So we get 212 here. 211 here. 312 here. With no deep. You see there's no deep there. The jet lag was just crazy. 0 minutes of deep sleep. This was actually on the airplane. The airplane there proving that airplane sleep is not real sleep. Proving that it's not real sleep. Right? Airplane sleep is not real sleep. Freaking pass it on. This was just an absolutely abysmal attempt at an evening's rest on the airplane. It was the worst. So I'm on what Gregory House would call a sleep deficit. But anyway, I think I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you all later. We'll be streaming again on Friday. We'll be doing our Game of the Year 2025 stream. I'm not even sure when it's going to happen yet. Pig Thunder Perfect. I try to not read people's names out loud, but I just saw the name Pig Thunder Perfect. That's a cool name. Who are you? Do I know you? I like asking people. I like wondering if I know people. Legal Step, you got to watch season 4 of Peep Show again. You got to. Thunder Pig. Thunder Perfect Pig. Pig Thunder Perfect. I still am not sure. I'm still not sure. But yeah, I don't know when we're going to do our Goaty stream. I wanted to do it like yesterday. And I didn't. We got Beefums in the chat. How you doing, Beefums? I just finished talking about England and now I have to go to bed. Maybe we can do the Goaty stream 1 week from today. I'll know. Give me until Friday. I'll know. I'll figure it out. I got some work-related stuff. Beefums, let's hang out sometime. Corey Schmitz is asking, is this a Nanamika black crewneck sweatshirt? Yeah. I bought this with the Treat Yourself King Foundation money, which, in case we're unfamiliar, a PayPal user sent me $2,500 last year, and it's with the caption "Treat Yourself King," and I decided to use it to buy a new basic wardrobe. All of these items. All of these items were purchased with the Treat Yourself King Fund. It's a pair of Nanamika black or navy like wind pants. Like they're like a yachting technical fabric. This watch band, Treat Yourself King. This black shirt, Treat Yourself King. This white shirt, Treat Yourself King. 992s, railroad socks, Nanamika, repping Nanamika 100%. I like this outfit. It's the most, these are cargo pants. They're waterproof cargo pants, so you can take a pee-pee in them if you have to. And it slides right down. The old leg comes splapping out the old hem hole. I got my shoes I got my shoes sprayed with Sapphire Medallies Dior's. But yeah, I enjoy this. I'm telling you, it's a good outfit to have, to wear. I can wear this the rest of my life. So if Mr. Treat Yourself King is listening, first of all, I did not accept his money right away. I did not accept his money until having a message exchange with him where I confirmed he is a millionaire and he can afford to do this. Because I have received large cash payments from people under some particular influence in the past. And, gotten bilked back. I got bilked right back by a couple of those guys in the past. They bilked me back. It's called a bilk back when they send you money and then they say they were under the influence. I call that a bilk back. Someone is saying I messaged you exactly once on Patreon about noise music. Did I reply? I get messages about noise music on Patreon a lot, and I'm more likely to reply to those messages than not reply to those messages. Am I saying bilk or milk? Wouldn't you like to know? I'm saying bilk. Oh, I did reply? Nice. Okay. I mean, that still doesn't narrow down who you are, so it's fine. The Curloquy is saying, I just finished smoking Borges' Ficciones. And now, are you reading Collected Fictions? And did you read the Ficciones, which is included in the Collected Fictions, or did you read it a la carte? Did you read because there's some other books that you could have sort of before that. Everybody's got to read the Aleph. I like Ficciones a lot, though. Ficciones has every Borges short story, every Borges book has something I quote or paraphrase all the time in it. And Ficciones has the quote that's stuck in my brain and never left, which is that reality has no obligation to be interesting, or whatever it is in Spanish, or whatever it is in the modern translations you may have read. That's something that's stuck in my brain forever. Reality has no obligation to be interesting, but a hypothesis does. Right? Right? A little bit of science talk, but it could be something else. It could be whatever you want it to be. I really like the Aleph, the story. I really like the Zahir, the story. Everybody loved the Zahir. Everybody loved that one. Big fan of that one. I mean, if I were writing maybe I could do a Borges fiction power ranking. We got Pierre Menard. Love Pierre Menard. Love the Labyrinths. Two Kings and the Two Labyrinths. Yeah, I love that one. Ibn al-Bakari, Murdered in His Labyrinth, I believe the story is called, which contains the story of the Two Kings and the Two Labyrinths. We got all of those. I got all of those. I got all those in my head. Pierre Menard is meticulous, freaking meticulous. But yeah, anybody wants to get into Borges, that's, again, that's my number one recommendation of a book to have. Collected Fictions. Get that Penguin Classic. Get that Penguin. Penguin up. Anyway, remember everybody, Penguin up. I'll see you all on Friday. I really want to retire my sign off because I just feel like it's really stupid and I just don't like it. The Smoke a Good One Tonight thing. But maybe I'll do it once, maybe I'll retire it once I complete my little rebrand. We're going to get to the end. If someone says, I like it, well, can you ban yourself from the chat? Beefum's just saying thank you. Thank you for wanting to retire the sign off. Well, now that I know you don't like it, I mean, I'm not saying I like it. Like, Smoke a Good One Tonight. Smoke a good one tonight. Drink a good one tonight. No, we're not going to do drink a good one tonight. We're not going to do it. We'll get more emojis too. God, I'm just so tired. I've also realized in the last 3 hours that the illness I had when I departed for London, when I got to London, it was mostly gone. And now that I'm back in my house, it's back, which makes me almost certain it's a dust allergy. It's got to be. It's got to be dust. I'm dusted, Ricky. Anyway, I'm going to figure this dust out. I got an electrician coming tomorrow to fix an outlet so I can get a microwave so that my beans don't go rotten. I don't know why I put those beans in that tub in the refrigerator despite the microwave not working, because I thought I could use the all-clad skillet to heat them up, but then they just kind of turn into like a bubble and squeak of themselves, and and they don't really taste right, and they don't taste even, and you got to use too much oil to heat them up, and it's just heating up purposely bland lentil soup in a saucepan. It's not recommendo. Anyway, I'll see you all later. But of course I'll say I think I'm gonna just not. I think I'm just gonna not say the sign off. We're gonna try it. Right? Should I try to not say the sign off? See what happens. Oh my God. Oh no. I was gonna go. Ah, they're here. We used to have Grimace in here too, but Uncle O'Grimacy, I think freaking Uncle O'Grimacy ate Grimace. You know, it's been a very short period of time since someone last asked me if I smoke weed or not. Where's Hillary? Oh man, do I have Cam Wild? We got him. Smoke it deep and smoke it sweet. Smoking that weed down Baby Boy Street. Smoke it wild and smoke it grand. They be smoking good ones all over this land. Smoke a good one tonight. Smoke a good one tonight. Smoke a good one tonight. If the feeling is right. Smoke a good one tonight. Smoke a good one tonight. Smoke a good one. Good night. Smoke a good one tonight.